Hi everyone, I'd like to welcome you to Mr. Q Does Math, the video show where Mr. Q, that's me, does math problems. Hey guys, so today we're going to be working with dividing polynomials, and we'll do a couple of examples here and hopefully you can follow along with the procedure. Maybe try pausing the video and working through the problem before and then checking to see if your work matches up with mine. But let's just get right into it. So here we see our problem, 3x squared minus 2x minus 13 divided by the quantity x minus 2. So the first thing I do is rewrite into division form, and I want to check to see that my dividend here is in standard form. And standard form for polynomials is where you have the powers of x in descending order from left to right. So our highest power here is x squared, then we have x to the first, and then no x power. So that's already in standard form, and we can proceed. So first we're going to put the divisor off to the side, so we'll have x minus 2. Then we make our house, division house, and we put back in the dividend from above, so we have 3x squared minus 2x minus 13. Okay, and when we start doing division with polynomials, what we want to do is pay attention to this x term and this first term here. So what we want to put into our quotient is the value that we can multiply just x by to get 3x squared. And so in this case it'll be 3x. So over here we'll put 3x, and now I'll also put a 3x here and an x minus 2. Then what we do here is use the distributive property, so this is going to be 3x squared, and this piece is going to be 3x times negative 2 is going to be negative 6x. And we stop right there. So we'll basically be working with these two pieces first. And once you've done that piece, the next step is to draw a line and change the signs. So this positive 3x squared is going to become negative, and this negative 6x is going to become positive. And what you should notice is that the term to the furthest left here should cancel. So we have a 3x positive minus 3x squared, so that's going to be 0. And we do our regular just addition here, so we have a negative 2x plus 6x, so that's going to be positive 4x. And just like in regular division, we take our next term and bring it down, including its sign, so this is minus 13. And now when we have two pieces again, we then move back over here and we have to see what can we multiply by x to give us 4x. So in this case it's going to be a positive 4. And then again we bring the 4 that we put into the quotient down, multiply it by the divisor, so x minus 2. Use the distributive property, so this is going to be 4x. And this piece is going to be minus 8. And now, after you did that, you draw a line and change the sign. So this becomes a minus 4x, this becomes a positive 8. Our term to the furthest left, we can cancel because 4x minus 4x is 0. And we have a negative 13 plus 8, which is going to be negative 5. So now, when we look at this, we've got negative 5 over here, and there's no x in here in this piece, so we can't continue to multiply anything to get this negative 5, so this is actually going to be our remainder. And with these problems, when you write the remainder, you write it as part of the quotient, but over the divisor. So the answer for this will be, you look up here and you see, okay, this is your quotient thus far, 3x plus 4, but you also have this negative 5 here, and we write it over the divisor, which in this case is x minus 2. So that's the solution to that particular problem. The things you want to keep in mind are that when you're trying to figure out what to multiply by here, remember you're trying to get this to be the same number. So if the sign here is positive, you're looking for a positive number. You change, after that you then draw the line and change the sign. So you're trying to match positive. So here we had a positive 4x. At first we looked for positive, what to multiply by to get the positive 4x. Then we drew the line and changed the signs. And then if you have a remainder, you put it over the divisor and then give it the sign that it has just in the problem. So let's take a look at another problem. In this problem we're given x cubed plus x minus x squared minus 1 divided by the quantity x minus 1. So the first thing you want to do is put this dividend into standard form. And again, standard form for a polynomial is with the powers of x, or whatever the variable is, x, y, z, anything, descending from left to right. So the x, first we're going to put this guy on the outside, the divisor. So this is x minus 1 over here. And then we'll draw our house. And inside that we'll put the polynomial in standard form. So here's x cubed. Then we need our x squared power, so we take the sign with this. This is minus x squared. Then we have a positive x, so plus x, and a minus 1. Okay, and then our next step is to see what can we multiply just this first x here to get x cubed. And in this case that's going to be x squared. So we write our x squared over here, and then x squared times x minus 1. Use the distributive property, so this is going to be x cubed, and this is going to be negative 1 times x squared, so minus x squared. Once we get to that part, we stop, we draw a line, and change the sign, so this becomes negative, this becomes positive. And x cubed minus x cubed is going to be 0. And we have a negative x squared plus x squared. That's actually also going to be 0. So if we have that, in this case, we're going to pull down the next two terms. So we'll have an x minus 1 over here. And the reason that we're going to do that is because we need to have two terms so that we can figure out what we can multiply by it to get that. So after we're there, we look, okay, what can we multiply by to get x? And since we have x over here, all we need to do is multiply by 1. So in the quotient we put plus 1. Over here we put 1 on the outside, x minus 1. Use the distributive property, 1 times x is just x. And 1 times negative 1 is negative 1. Once we get there, we draw a line and change the signs. So this is going to be a negative x, a positive 1. And x minus x is 0. Negative 1 plus 1 is also 0. So there's no remainder here. And the solution to this division problem, the quotient, is going to be x squared plus 1. Let's take a look at another problem. Here we have 5 minus 23x plus 12x squared divided by 4x minus 1. So again, our first step is going to be to rewrite the problem as in our long division form with our divisor on the outside. So we'll have 4x minus 1 Then we draw our house, and inside the house we put the dividend polynomial in standard form. So our greatest power is x squared, so we'll start with that, and it's positive, so we'll have 12x squared. Then we look for x to the first, which is over here. It's minus 23x. And finally we have a positive 5, so we add that. Okay, now our first step is to see what can we put into the quotient that multiplied by 4x will give us 12x squared, and that's going to be 3x, so we put that up here. Off to the side we put our 3x and our 4x minus 1. We use the distributive property. 3x times 4x is 12x squared, and 3x times negative 1 is going to be minus 3x. Once we get that far, we have our two terms, so we can draw the line and change the signs. This will become minus 12x squared, this will become positive 3x. Again, the terms furthest to the left should cancel, so we have 12x squared minus 12x squared, that's 0, and minus 23x plus 3x is going to be negative 20x. Our next step is going to be, just like regular long division, pull down the next term with its sign, so this is plus 5. I'll write that there. And now we go back to our divisor, and into the quotient we'll put what can we multiply by 4x to get negative 20x. And so it's going to have to be a negative number since this is negative, so it'll be minus. And 5 times 4x will be 20, so negative 5 times 4x will be negative 20. So this should be minus 5. Over here we'll put our negative 5, 4x minus 1. Use the distributive property. Negative 5 times 4x is negative 20x. And negative 5 times negative 1 is actually going to be positive 5. Our next step is going to be to draw a line and change the signs. So this becomes positive 20x, and this right here becomes minus 5. Negative 20x plus 20x is 0, and positive 5 minus 5 is also 0. So that means our quotient to this division problem is just going to be 3x minus 5.